You always scare me when you use that voice. I know you can see me on video.
I always like when Peter does the Beverly Hills Cop theme, and he's like, ha, 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 ha.
That's one of my favorite movies ever.
Wait, you're a big Beverly Hills Cop fan?
That was like the first movie I got to see as a kid that I wasn't supposed to.
It's a great movie. It's one of my favorites.
Oh, I know. I watched that and Weird Science over and over and over.
Weird Science?
I like that one a lot too.
That was Anthony Michael Hall, right?
Maybe. I don't know. But no, I never told you the Beverly Hills Cop thing.
No.
Yeah, so my dad gets her, my sister, because she's older than me. He's like, all right, you cannot let your little brother watch this movie. Like, it's not appropriate in any way. Well, apparently that didn't work out too well, and I get to see it at some point. Dad said he's kicked back in the chair one night, probably got a couple in him. And here comes like hyper wide open Zeke with a little toy cap gun. I just come running around the corner and point the gun at him and go, freeze, asshole. He said my sister jumped up and took off running, and he was like, kill it.
Hello, everyone. My name is John Edwards, and with me, as always, is Zeke Baker, and together we make the Dad's Drinking Bourbon. Wherever you are, whatever time it is, thank you for making us a part of your day. I'm tired, Zeke. Say hello to the folks. Let's make it quick.
Man, you can't be any worse shape than me. I've been going strong all day with a bum hip.
Well, that's your fault. I've been going strong all day, too. Today's my early days. I've been on the phone since 6:30 in the morning.
You ain't getting sympathy out of me there, buds.
It's not my fault you decide to go to work 2 hours early.
Hour and a half. It's called peace of mind, and I eat my breakfast, too.
You eat your breakfast, fill some prescriptions.
If anybody gets a piece of sausage or an egg in there, sorry about that.
It's the placebo.
I will say, if you think back to Beverly Hills Cop, I think that was like one of the original ways of learning how to bullshit as a kid and make up stuff on the fly. So many random things I always remember from that. Like when he goes in the fancy restaurant and he has to sneak in, he's trying to bum money from the guy in the front. He's like, oh yeah, these medications are for my daughters, Monique and Unique, the twins. It's just so off the wall dumb, but he says it so fast and matter of fact, the guy's like, oh, okay, Monique and Unique.
I just love Taggart. Taggart's so, he's so angry. Rosewood is just, Judge Reinhold is such a good actor, and he plays the nice guy so well. There's just, the whole cast, it's just a perfect thing. And Beverly Hills Cop 3, I remember watching that one over and over, and it was Wonder World.
Was it Fun World or Wonder World?
No, because it's Wonder World, Wonder World. I still remember that song.
I can tell you make the dance moves too.
Whatever. Today's show is sponsored by CaskCartel.com, changing the industry standard as to how you get your alcohol. They are like the Amazon of the spirits industry. So let's be honest, it's going to cost a little bit more for the allocated stuff, but that's because you don't have to wait in line overnight. You don't have to sit around for a raffle that you might not even get a bottle in. It is convenient. You can sit at home and get it shipped directly to you. That is the wonder of CaskCartel.com. Their daily drinkers are going to be more on par with what you would pay in a store. Check them out for yourself. Also go to Instagram at CaskCartel. They are always doing awesome giveaways for their followers. I think they're actually doing a BTAC giveaway right now. That's pretty cool, but check them out at CaskCartel.com and at CaskCartel on Instagram. Today's show is also sponsored by our friends at PremiumBarProducts.com, where you can go to get custom laser etched glassware. You can also get the official Dad's Drinking Bourbon Glencairn glass there. So go ahead and check them out. When you go to the website, just look for the link that says DDB Glass in the menu. You can get our glass there, or you can put whatever you want on a bunch of cool glasses, like the Neat Glass, a Glen, a Wee Glen, the Tua, the Tipsy Dram, the Kenzie Dram, whatever it is, they got it. Go ahead and check them out. And if you are a store, distillery, or a bourbon group and you have more of a wholesale order, reach out to me and I will get you in touch with the good folks, Carson, Janie, Vicky, and everyone at PremiumBarProducts.com.
You didn't even touch on the second one. That's the one with like the blonde in it.
Is that the one where they were doing the art stuff, or was that the first one?
That's the first one. The second one had the big blonde and the horse racing. And I think it's like Taggart or Billy Wong are talking about, how many big blondes did you think there are walking around Hollywood? And they were like, it's Hollywood. And he's like, oh, that's the one with the banana and the tailpipe.
Yeah, you just told me I'm not allowed to talk about horse racing for a while, so.
I can. I watched it.
I saw the Derby too. In this day and age, if I didn't watch it live, if I watched it 10 minutes later, it's not the worst thing in the world.
Instead of watching horses go round and round, you was watching tires go round and round, son.
That's fine. We are drinking today Buffalo Chip American Whiskey. You want to know where Buffalo Chip American Whiskey comes from?
Enlighten me.
So there is a guy, and his name is Rod Woody Woodruff. He's the founder and president of the Sturgis Buffalo Chip, the world's first and leading entertainment destination for motorcycle and music enthusiasts. Since 1981, Woody has worked tirelessly to transform what was once 20 acres of alfalfa pasture in Sturgis, South Dakota, into a 600-acre entertainment destination known to its fans as the best party anywhere. Your boy Kid Rock has played a whole bunch of other people like Aerosmith, Bob Dylan, Toby Keith Urban, Ozzy. That is what the chip is, and then they decide to make a whiskey around it. But they decided to blend and bottle this in Nashville, which is how we found out about it. They reached out to us. They are in our town, and they wanted to get us a bottle so we could try it. Now, this whiskey is a blend of 3 different whiskeys. It's a blend of corn that was aged for 6 years, a wheat whiskey that was aged for 5 years, and a rye whiskey that was aged 4.5 years. It comes through at 46% ABV and 92 proof. That's all I really know about it.
So when you say blend of 3 whiskeys, I'm assuming they're not single grain whiskeys. That's just like 51%?
I don't know. What they told me was just aged 4 to 6 years, different ages for different elements, and corn, wheat, and rye. I do know that the price tag on this one is $34.99. It's a triple mash bill, corn, wheat, and rye. That's what they said, triple mash bill, but I don't understand if that is 100%. Don't know if that is just a corn mash bill mixed with a wheat mash bill mixed with a rye mash bill, or if it's 100% corn whiskey, 100% wheat whiskey, and 100% rye whiskey mixed together. That almost seems like you might as well put the 3 together into. Yeah,
and I feel like you'd have to have some barley in there for the enzymatic stuff to go on. And at that point, you've got a blended 4 grain, similar to like folks at Penelope are doing.
They have a blended 4 grain somehow here, right? I just have to assume that it's not 100% corn, 100% wheat, and 100% rye, because I can't imagine them putting together those 3. If they are like that, then we're going to look dumb, but it's not the first time we've looked dumb, and it won't be the last time. I'm sure somebody's going to correct us either way on this. What did you think, my friend?
Granted, we don't discuss color too much, but wow, this one's faint.
This one's super light.
I mean, I would have honestly probably thought it was a Scotch. You hadn't already told me.
Or I wouldn't have suspected that there's 6 and 5 and 4.5 year whiskey in here. I would have thought it was all 2 to 3.
Nose wise, to me, it's very faint for what I am able to pick up. I got a smoky element to begin with off this on the nose, and then behind that, kind of like aged, musty. I always thought it equated to a bit of a malt presence, but depending on like how much it's aged, it almost smells like mothballs in a closet. Those are the main 2 things that I got on this, nose-wise. What sweet's there is so faint. I mean, you almost have to have it in your nose to pick it up.
I definitely got the malt. And it's funny because as we're going through this mash bill, I mean, I think there has to be barley in these 3 because of the nose, because there's such a malt presence. And it's almost like if you didn't know any better, you know that this is an American whiskey, you know that it's not bourbon. And part of that, gives them a little bit flexibility of the barrels that they're putting stuff in. And, I know that I think 2 are new oak and one of them is reused, and don't quote me on that. It could be two that are reused, one that's new oak. But all I know is that there could be something else kind of imparting flavor in this as you're putting it in a reused barrel. There could be something that's a little bit malty. Maybe they're getting ex-Scotch barrels. Maybe they're getting something that had more of a malted whiskey in it that I don't know, but I definitely get some malt here on the nose.
And the used barrels would definitely lean more sense towards the lightness in color, especially because you said it was up to what, 4 to 6 years?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Palate wise, I mean, I thought it matched pretty well. None of it came across as being robust or strong. But again, there was a light smokiness was the first thing I really picked up. The malt came in behind it along with some spice. And then I thought the spice lingered for a pretty good bit at the back end based on the perceived lack of proof for the pour. I thought, usually things that to me are that light of a profile overall, by the time they get to the back, they're just spent and out the door.
Is it going to mess you up if I just say ditto?
It won't be the first time. I'll at least give you a break on this one. I didn't think there was a ton going on in any direction. And what I got, it was direct. It just was a very soft punch, I guess you would say.
I'll just say I definitely got the malt. There's a faintness in the other tastes. I think the malt really comes through on here. I'm also thinking of the clientele. You're trying to get a whole bunch of people that are going to a motorcycle rally in Sturgis, South Dakota, and could be a little bit more of a profile to a beer drinker, and you're kind of pulling them over that way. I don't think it's the profile that a bourbon drinker would go for. And it's not like some of the other whiskeys that we've had that it's not your typical like malt where you're getting a little bit of that chocolate stout. It's not that at all. It's more of an IPA than a stout. IPA is they're not for everybody. Again, I don't want to be talking about proof all the time and not think that I can't drink something in 90 proof. But I would just think that for the clientele that you're looking at here, yes, is Jack Daniel's the number one whiskey in the world? And is it at 80 proof? Yes. But I would think that you would put this one a little bit higher than 92. I wonder if blending those things together, what's actually happening to the taste. I kind of wonder if you're taking corn whiskey and wheat whiskey and rye whiskey, and we have the ability to talk to the blender if we want to, but are you blending away the flavor? Why are you taking 3 whiskeys that are probably decent on their own and blending it together to make something else for any other reason other than you just wanted to do some blending?
Maybe they thought it was a novel profile. I would say there's not much I can link being similar to this.
There's not a lot that's similar to this. It could be one of those things where it's just not our jam as primarily bourbon drinkers and a sweet bourbon drinker for that matter. I mean, both of us kind of gravitate towards sweet. We just differ on what our definition of sweet is. I don't think this is a sweet bourbon drinker's profile.
I wonder how it would go with a cigar, though.
I think it would be good with a cigar. See, this isn't something, even with this profile, though, it doesn't scream mixer to me. Like, you go in and have a Jack and Coke. I still don't think this is something like, hey, don't pour me a chip and Coke.
Never know. They might have something that goes quite well with it.
They could, but at $35, it's not one of those things that you're buying to have a heavy, ice and Coke component and a small whiskey component to it.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Again, kind of tough to get a read on this overall as far as what the plan and the goal was. Again, I really think it might be a good cigar pour, though. I don't know. When we talk about cigars, at least to me, I've yet to find one that really accentuated the juice and the profile. If anything, make it harder for me to pick up. Whereas with this, it's something light. It's not going to burn. It's already got some smokiness to it. The back end's got a little bit of spice. I mean, to me, that generically seems like what you pick up with a cigar. So you put them together, should be decent synergy.
See, I really like the late hour Davidoff. That always does a very good job pairing with whiskey and accentuating the whiskey to me. Just a helpful hint.
I don't know who you're trying to help. I ain't buying you none.
I'm trying to help you. Also, the Camacho has ones that were finished in an American whiskey barrel that are really good.
I never even remember which ones I have half the time. It's like, oh, it was good. What was that? I don't know.
I'll bring you one. We'll sit on your porch. at $35, I mean, this doesn't scream mixer. I think if you're going to make this a mixer, I'd like to see it more at $25. I don't want to quibble over $10, but it's just one of those things. And, the fact that they're blending three things together, and people are going to say, oh, you're so obsessed with the price, and you guys always talk about the price. But it's like, yes, $10, are people really going to care? But it's just the category that it's in. So I'd say where it's priced at a point for me where I think you would have this as a neat pour.
Easily.
That's where I think the price comes into it. Not that I'm bitching about the price. I'm just saying, like, I wouldn't call this a mixer. So we can ask him. We can have the blender on the show. I'm curious, it's almost like at a certain point, if you're blending three whiskeys together, are you overcomplicating something, or is this kind of the profile that you're looking for, where it's a little bit more malt forward and it tastes, I mean, it's not a bourbon, it's an American whiskey. So it almost tastes a little bit American single malty to me.
I would just have to guess on the presentation alone, they were going for this specifically. I don't know the how or the why behind it, but regardless, it's unique enough to where this was intentional.
Bottle's got a big old buffalo on it too. His name's Chip. Just so you know. Are you a buy, bar, or pass on this, my friend?
Most likely a bar, but on the right day, you might catch me just wanting to see how this goes with cigars, especially summertime. You don't want a high proofer. I don't know. I just think there's some flavors in there that, whereas I don't line up, bourbon or rye whiskey necessarily all the time, I think these might line up well. I don't know. It has my interest piqued enough to say I'm on the fence there.
So I would typically be at a bar, but this is something that we talked about with Legion a couple weeks ago. If you're going to go spend $10 to $15 on a pour of this, just go buy a bottle. Is it really going to kill you to spend 20 extra bucks on this? I mean, if your interest is piqued and you want to get it, I wouldn't even say go to a bar. I'd say there's no ROI there. It's not cost effective for me to spend a third of the bottle for a pour at the bar.
Worst case, we always need those like lower proof, easy drinkers, especially this time of the year. It's the holidays. You never know who's going to show up, what they do or don't like, or even if they have a palate. Hey, bro, got one for you. Then you don't feel bad if they drink it all.
Not at all. And, I think it's interesting. I'd be interested to see where this goes. It's probably not my favorite, but I think it's unique enough and there's not other ones like it out there.
Works for me.
Well, thank you to Buffalo Chip American Whiskey. We can't wait to see what else you come up with as you continue to grow as a company and you continue to be in our backyard. Thank you for sending us this media sample. Zeke, the folks can find us on Facebook at Dad's Drinking Bourbon, Twitter at Bourbon Dads, Instagram at Dad's Drinking Bourbon. You can find us wherever you download your podcasts. Chances are you already have because you're listening to us right now. Zeke, where else can the folks find us?
Good old Music City, USA.
Cheers.
Ciao.